Hello, everyone. We're going to go into do a session 1 recap of the recent Curse of Strahd Death House adventure. It was our first session. It was a D&D module played with the Pathfinder rule set. So let's jump right in and see what happened. So join me for an exciting recap of session 1 in our Curse of Strahd campaign as we explore the eerie and enigmatic Death House in Barovia. With a diverse party of adventurers and Gothic horror setting, this session sets the tone for a thrilling journey ahead. Stay tuned for the next chapter in this Gothic horror adventure. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more TTRPG recaps and content. Let me take you through today's agenda, which serves as our guide for this exploration. We'll begin with a forward and prologue, setting the stage and giving context to what follows. From there, we'll embark on a chapter-by-chapter journey, beginning with Chapter 1, A Grim Invitation, the ominous call that sets everything in motion. We'll move through key areas of the narrative and setting, starting with Chapter 2, The Entrance, and working our way through rooms that reveal not just the physical layout, but also critical elements of the story. Pay attention to certain timestamps and clock chimes, such as in 6 p.m. in the main hall and 6 and 7 p.m. in the kitchen pantry. These aren't just markers, but significant moments in the timeline. As we ascend to the second floor, we'll encounter the servants' room and the upper hall, and eventually make our way to the third floor, exploring other spaces. Each chapter is a building block, adding depth to the narrative and enriching the atmosphere. After these chapters, we'll turn our focus to the notes section, where I have notes for characters and setting, which will help us recap the different details of the story and connect the dots. We'll also explore some recurring motives, which provide thematic resonance and delve into specific details like light sources and different paintings, carvings, mountings, each offering a glimpse into the story's mood and symbolism. Finally, I put together a list of outstanding questions that may be revisited in the follow-up session, Session 2, wrapping up with reflections on the unanswered mysteries that keep us engaged long after this session. Let this agenda serve as your map as we navigate the intrinsic layers of this story together. Let's begin. The session began with the group gathering to ease into using the virtual tabletop. For those unfamiliar with Pathfinder, there was an emphasis on getting accustomed to the mechanics and the platform's interface. The Game Master, Jack, had sent out the necessary passwords through direct messages on Discord. As players joined, one participant, Thomas, faced some initial challenges with the setup due to using a mobile device. Thomas revealed that in addition to undergoing kidney dialysis at the time, he is legally blind, making the setup process slightly more complex. Despite these challenges, everyone eventually managed to load into Foundry, the virtual tabletop software. With the splash screen for Curse of Strahd visible and the game paused, the GM called for introductions of the characters. Each participant shared a brief overview of their creation. First, Quixote, a human paladin, introduced by Carl, was described as a justice-oriented and inspired by the literary figure Don Quixote. This character is a tank, unwavering in the face of evil. Next was Cancera, which is my character. A human cleric was introduced by John. A healer by nature, Cancera was willing to sacrifice herself to ensure the group's survival. Next was Lauchen Glithar, the half-elf ranger, introduced by Paul, was shaped by a tragic past. A vigilant protector, Lauchen excelled in range combat, wielding a bow and twin weapons to deliver rapid, precise strikes. Noid, a Leshy Druid, was introduced by Sean, values nature and healing. This versatile character, or toolbox, could heal, cast spells, and engage in melee combat when necessary, relying on ranged attacks to control the battlefield. Mazarin the Brilliant Cod, the Orc Swashbuckler, introduced by Thomas, combined the traits of a fighter and a thief. Proud of his heritage, Mazorn aimed to prove that orcs are not inherently unintelligent. As character sheets were reviewed, inconsistencies between Foundry and Pathfinder 2e builds were noted. The GM assured that players that they would update everyone's profiles to align correctly. Some technical hurdles emerged, such as how to count down dice or assign specific abilities, but the group worked through these issues collectively. Discussions touched on character traits backgrounds, and Pathfinder lore, and including the differences between the first and second editions. With everyone settled and ready, the organizer provided an overview of the tabletop interface, dealing key functions such as actions, skills, spellcasting. Players were shown how to access and manage their character sheets, inventory, and other tools. They also learned how to interact with maps, use perception and attack rolls, and manage initiative during encounters. The session continued with the GM explaining how to use additional tools and settings in the virtual tabletop interface. Players could adjust display settings, including text size, and explore features like the token controls, spell templates, and measurement tools. These were particularly useful for spellcasters who could visualize the effects of their abilities directly on the map. The GM outlined the key controls, emphasizing their importance for targeting in combat and exploring the environment. Despite some minor technical challenges and adjustments, the session was poised for a smooth start. With characters ready and the virtual tools explained, the group prepared to delve into the adventure. As the game progressed, the group began their journey, stepping into the story's atmosphere. So, quick clarification, on session 0, there was an initial group of about 4 people. It was actually still me, John, it was Paul, it was Carl, and then there was Hoffa. Hoffa decided he had some time constraints, so he wasn't able to join and continue on with session 1. So we lost 1, but then we gained 2 more. We gained Sean and Thomas. So now we have a group of 5, which was great. So this was kind of a little introduction for Sean and Thomas, since they were not in session 0, but they were a little bit more experienced with D&D and Pathfinder, so they kind of ramped up really quick. All right, let's go to the prologue. Under raging storm clouds, a lone figure stands silhouetted against the ancient walls of Castle Ravenloft. The vampire, Count Strahd von Zarovich, stares down a sheer cliff at the village below. A cold, bitter wind spins dead leaves about him, blowing his cape in the darkness. Lightning splits the clouds overhead, casting stark white light across him. Strahd turns to the sky, revealing the angular muscles of his face and hands. He has a look of power and of madness. His once handsome face is contorted by a tragedy darker than the night itself. Rumbling thunder pounds the castle spires. The wind's howling increases as Strahd turns his gaze back to the village. Far below, yet not beyond his ken, a party of adventurers has just entered his domain. Strahd's face forms a twisted smile as his dark plan unfolds. He knew they were coming, and he knows why they have come. All according to his plan, he, the Master of Ravenloft, will attend to them. Another lightning flash rips through the darkness, its thunder echoing through the castle's towers. But Strahd is gone. Only the howling of the wind, or perhaps a lone wolf, fills the midnight air. The Master of Ravenloft is having guests for dinner, and you are invited. Chapter 1, a grim invitation.
Highharvesttide in Daggerford. It's a time of joy and celebration, of hearth and home, of golden laughter ringing out into the night. But tonight, as a storm has swept over the town, you find yourselves apart from the warmth and revelry, drawn to the cold, dark embrace of mystery. As mercenaries, you're no strangers to danger or the unknown. But this is different. Over the past few weeks, whispers have spread throughout Daggerford of disappearances, ordinary folk, vanished without a trace. The only connection? A grand old manor known in hushed tones as Death House. Tonight, as the storm rages outside, you've been summoned to investigate this mysterious dwelling. The town crier's proclamation still echoes in your ears, a bounty for any brave souls who dare to uncover the truth. Driven by a mix of greed, curiosity, and perhaps a touch of bravado, you step forward. Now, guided by the faint glow of your lanterns, you traverse the slick, fog-shrouded cobblestone streets. The distant merriment is a stark contrast to the eerie quiet around you. The world has been reduced to hushed whispers and the steady drumming of rain, a somber serenade to your perilous journey. And then, as if answering an unspoken summons, the mist before you part, revealing the grim silhouette of your destination, the Death House. Its dark stone facade and towering spires loom ominously against the storm-tossed sky, a wordless challenge against your resolve.
Your characters are mercenaries, currently in Daggerford, a settlement on the Sword Coast of Farron. You've been hired to investigate reports of several disappearances, with rumors linking them to a mysterious old manor house that the locals call the Death House. Chapter 2, The Front Entrance.
Right. Well, so a grand manor stands before you. It's 4 stories of cold, soot-stained stone, tall, narrow windows, and high-peaked roofs forming a picture of austere, chilling grandeur. Midway up, a narrow balcony juts out from the 3rd floor, offering a grim perch from which to survey the surrounding grounds. The centerpiece of this imposing facade is the portico, a stone arch standing sentinel before the house's oaken doors. A wrought iron gate fills this arch, its rusty hinges creaking as it sways in the wind. On either side of the gate, oil lamps hang from the chains, their light dim and flickering, casting a sickly glow that barely pierces the surrounding fog. Beyond the gate, a set of sturdy oaken doors stand closed, framed by the gate and the lamps. The doors are old and weathered, their wood darkened by time, but they stand strong and proud, an unwelcome entrance to the house beyond. A gust of wind sweeps past you, carrying with it a whisper of cold dread that sends shivers down your spine.
So it was the Highharvesttide festival in Daggerford, okay, a time of joy, but the mood quickly shifted as a storm raged over the town. Whispers of disappearances led the party to investigate a mysterious manor known as the Death House. Guided by rumors and a town crier's proclamation of a bounty, they moved through foggy cobblestone streets, lanterns lighting their path. The Death House emerged through the mist, a foreboding 4-story manor with tall, narrow windows and an iron gate swaying in the wind. Lauchen, the half-elf ranger, searches the outside of the house for clues, but found nothing significant. After some discussion, the party resolved to enter the house, though not without a bit of humor and apprehension. Lauchen joked about setting the house on fire and calling it a day, but the group agreed it was best to investigate thoroughly, especially in case any missing persons or adventurers were trapped inside. Chapter 3, The Entry Hallway.
Out there, you do see through the now now half-open doorway. You can see that the entry hallway appears to have a shield along the wall. The shield itself is emblazoned with a coat of arms that looks like a windmill. That looks like a windmill.
The group's paladin, Quixote, took the lead, bolstered by a light spell cast by Noid, the Leshy Druid. Since Quixote is a knight paladin, he attempts to determine the heraldry of the shield. He inspects the shield and its iconography. After studying it, he realizes he's not sure. It's not a family crest he's ever seen before. After some deliberation, the shield was taken by Quixote. Chapter 4, The Main Hall and the Coat Closet.
As the last of you pass through the entryway, the doors slam shut behind you, and you hear the doors latch. You see a fireplace above at this end of the hallway, and above that fireplace, you see the portrait of a family. A husband, a wife, and 3 children. It says Mr. Gustav and Mrs. Elizabeth Durst. with their 2 children, Roosevelda and Thornton, and does not mention the name of the baby in their bunch of their house. At the opposite end of this hallway, there is a large spiral staircase and a massive grandfather clock.
You just that so well, aren't you?
As you spot the grandfather clock, it begins to strike.
He already started.
And then suddenly, along the walls, behind the grandfather clock, behind this and along the staircase, blood red letters appear, and they say, "Beneath this dwelling lurks a beast who hungers for a bloody feast. He sleeps until the midnight chime, then wakes to feed his dark design. If morsels seek to flee their doom, then bring toward his secret room a gift to soothe his savage mood, but mind the servants of his brood."
You saw all that in blood? Man, how much blood did that person have?
The plaque under the portrait reads, Mr. Gustav and Mrs. Elizabeth Durst with their 2 children, Roosevelda and Thornbolt. So the grandfather clock begins to strike ominously, and the party absorbed the ominous warning. Cancera noted that only 6 chimes had sounded, indicating 6 hours until midnight. The group speculated on the meaning of the message, discussing whether appeasement, exploration, or confrontation would be necessary. They acknowledged that servants of the beast might pose additional threats as they searched the house for clues. Note, concerning the passage of time, every time you move between levels of the house, about 20 minutes in-game will pass. If you look at the clock, there's a clock in the right-hand corner. It'll show the time remaining until the clock strikes 7. Anytime you take the time to investigate, seek, or search a room, that will also pass time. Additionally, if you take any significant breaks, like if someone wants to use a medicine check to heal people between combats, that will pass about 60 minutes of in-game time as well. Cancera searches around the main hall. She does not find any secrets or anything out of place within the main hall area, especially not around the fireplace. It doesn't appear that there are any hidden features here. Lauchen takes another quick look around the main hall area to make sure nothing's been amiss. After checking again, he still doesn't find anything out of the ordinary. No secret passages or anything unusual. After Cancera investigates the adjoining coat closet, she discovers a letter with a windmill crest that reads, "You are cordially invited to join Mr. Gustav and Elizabeth Durst for a celebration of the 1-year anniversary of the Durst Mill. The Durst Residence, Barovia Village, 6 o'clock p.m., 13 Nayavar 348. Dinner and refreshments to be served." Chapter 5. Den.
As you crack the door to this room open, you catch a glimpse of something feral beyond. An amber eye that flashes in the darkness, and a bestial muzzle curled into a snarl. Then the door cracks open further, revealing a gray-furred wolf frozen in place. It's only a moment before you realize that it's not moving, and another before you realize that it's not alone. This oak-paneled room looks like a hunter's den. Mounted above the fireplace is a stag's head, and positioned around the outskirts of the room are 2 additional stuffed wolves, a large gray wolf and a smaller brown wolf. 2 padded chairs draped in animal furs face a hearth, with a oak table between them supporting an assortment of objects. A chandelier hangs above a cloth-covered table surrounded by 4 chairs, and 2 cabinets stand against the walls. A pair of small toys seems to have been forgotten beneath one of the chairs.
Quixote ventured into a room and discovered what appeared to be a hunter's den. Mounted above the fireplace was a stag's head with taxidermied wolves stationed around the room. The walls bore oak paneling, and the room featured padded chairs, a table, and a couple cabinets. Beneath one of the chairs were some small toys, seemingly forgotten. You find 2 cabinets in this room, one on the north wall and one on the east wall. The east wall cabinet contains several crossbows and bolts. Among the bolts, you notice that one set appears to be silvered. While you're discussing the crossbows, you notice something strange. The wolves in the room seem to have switched places. A set of bolts was silvered, which Lauchen claimed as a precaution against potential supernatural threats. In the north wall cabinet, you find a set of playing cards and some alabaster stones. Mazorn investigates the table, but the table itself is barren. Lauchen investigates the toy that was forgotten under one of the chairs. He grabs the toy, takes a closer look. Etched on the bottom of it is named Thorn. Lauchen investigates the wolves, and they appear to be nothing more than taxidermy specimens. As far as he can tell, there's nothing out of the ordinary about them. He spends a good 10 minutes examining them, but there are no trapdoors, wires, or anything else that might explain how they're moving. Chapter 6. The Dining Room.
You enter into a wood-paneled dining room. The centerpiece is a carved mahogany table surrounded by 8 high-backed chairs with sculpted armrests and cushioned seats. A crystal chandelier hangs above the table, which is set with resplendent silverware and crystal glasses, polished to a dazzling shine. Mounted above the marble fireplace is a mahogany-framed painting of an alpine vale. The wall paneling is carved with elegant images of deer among the trees. Red silk drapes cover the windows, and a tapestry hangs from an iron rod bolted to the south wall. The table groans beneath the weight of a deliciously looking feast. Exquisite dishes lay on grand platters, succulent roasted poultry glazed with a shimmering honey sauce, perfectly grilled cuts of beef still steaming lightly, and a variety of cheeses and fresh fruit and freshly baked bread, giving off a comforting aroma.
The group moved into a dining room. The table was laden with a feast, complete with polished silverware and crystal glasses. The centerpiece of the room was a mahogany-framed painting above the fireplace, depicting an alpine vale, or a mountain valley. While the food appeared inviting, some members were skeptical of its safety. Yeah, I would say everyone was skeptical except for Lauchen. As Quixote comes around the corner of the table, he notices a piece of parchment that reads, "For the light of my life, -G." Since there is a feast laid out on the dining room table, the food looks delicious, and it looks like food, and it looks and smells tasty. Lauchen identifies food that could be stored, like nuts or anything he can put in his pack for some extra field rations. There seem to be plenty of it, and a lot of it looks like it could last. Lauchen grabs some food and stores it for later. Chapter 7. Kitchen and Pantry.
You enter a tidy kitchen with dishware, cookware, and utensils neatly placed on shelves. A work table has a cutting board and rolling pin atop it. A stone dome-shaped oven stands near the east wall, its bent iron stovepipe connecting to a hole in the ceiling. Behind the stove and to the left is a thin door. In the front right-hand corner of the room stands a small wooden door set into the wall.
As Cansera enters the pantry area of the kitchen, she notices that it is well stocked. All the food inside appears to be fresh. Opposite of this wall, she also notices a dumbwaiter. Noid investigates the dumbwaiter. With a bit of ingenuity, as a small character, Noid thinks to himself that he could attempt to climb into it if he wants, but he knows that it looks like it's seen better days. He decides instead to cast a spell. He thinks to himself that he could turn into a flying creature, like a bird, which would give him fly speed of 20 feet. That way he could scout the second floor. Or he could turn into a rat, since nobody would notice me in this dump, he thinks to himself. A rat would attract the least attention out of anything. Just a rat riding up a dumbwaiter. Finally deciding, Noid casts a spell to shrink himself down into a rat and scurries into the Dumb Raider. As the Dumb Raider starts moving, Noid feels a sense of unease while the clock chimes 7 times. The rest of the group searches the kitchen and pantry more deeply. Bottle of wine. Cancera finds a bottle of wine, the Champagne de l'Estampe, labeled Wizard of Wine's Winery. Piece of lace. Quixote, you notice a piece of lace that bears the initial K, sewn onto one corner, though its significance remains unclear. Dried powder. Lauchen notices a bit of strange dried powder sitting on one of the counters. He inspects it further, but he doesn't think it's ever encountered anything like this before. Both Mazorn and Quixote also check out the powder, but don't have any idea what this powder is. Cancera finally checks out the powder and realizes this is dried syphilim, a common contraceptive herb. This raised questions about the Durst family, as they had 3 children despite the presence of the herb, hinting at potential secrets or infidelities within the household. Chapter 8, The Servant's Room, on the 2nd floor.
This undecorated bedroom contains a pair of beds with straw-stuffed mattresses. At the foot of each bed is a closed footlocker. A door to the left appears to lead to a closet. In the right-hand corner stands a small wooden door. A metal button set into the wall beside it. A basket full of unwashed laundry appears to have been left beside it.
Noid, having reached the 2nd floor in his rat form, found himself in an undecorated bedroom containing straw-stuffed mattresses, footlockers, and a basket of laundry. A small wooden door and a metal button on the wall added to the room's intrigue. Unable to communicate his findings to the group, Noid continued to investigate silently and notices what appears to be a servant's room. Sensing no danger and hearing the rest of his party coming up the stairs, Noid reverts to his natural leshy form and joins his companions outside the room into the upper hall and relays his findings. The group as a whole revisits the servant's room together and completes a thorough search of the room. The closet contains several tidy servant uniforms hanging from hooks. None of the uniforms are missing lace. The footlockers at the foot of the bed are empty. The only other thing in the closet is a laundry basket with some clothing in it. Oddly, Quixote takes the woman's slip but leaves a pair of men's fine suits. The unusual dimensions of the room hinted at a potential hidden space yet to be uncovered. Chapter 9, The Upper Hall.
Unlit oil lamps are mounted on the walls of this elegant hall. Hanging above the mantelpiece is a long sword with a windmill cameo worked into the hilt. Standing suits of armor flank wooden doors in the east and west walls. Each suit of armor clutches a spear and has a visored helm shaped like a wolf's head. The doors between them are carved with images of dancing youths. A red marble staircase continues its upward spiral to the 3rd floor, and a cold draft whispering from down below.
Concluding their exploration of the 1st floor, the group moved upstairs, noting a transition into a more elegant setting. The upper hall featured unlit oil lamps, suits of armor flanking carved doors, and a long sword with a windmill insignia mounted above a mantelpiece. The group thoroughly searched the area, finding nothing of immediate significance apart from the sword, which bore the same emblem as the other artifacts in the house. Quixote claimed the longsword. The windmill appears to be the same windmill on the shield from the entry hall prior. Chapter 10, The Conservatory.
You enter into an elegantly appointed hall, the windows of which are covered by gossamer drapes. A brass-plated chandelier hangs from the ceiling, and upholstered chairs line the walls. Several stained glass wall hangings depict beautiful men, women, and children singing and playing instruments. A harpsichord with a bench rests in the northwestern corner. Near the fireplace is a large standing harp. Alabaster figurines of well-dressed dancers adorn the mantelpiece. Okay, and then as you are leaving that room,
Damn it. You guys did it to us again. We're gonna get killed at midnight. I'm just
Okay. I take out my wire cutters and I cut the clock.
Oh, thank you.
you cut the cord on the clock, and as you pull away, the cord just is uncut.
Continuing their exploration, the party entered the conservatory, a lavish room adorned with gossamer drapes, alabaster figurines, and stained glass wall hangings depicting musical performances. The room contained a harpsichord and a standing harp near a fireplace. A general search revealed little, but a closer inspection uncovers peculiar details. Key pressed down. Mazor notices one of the harpsichord keys was permanently depressed. The group tries to figure out the name of the stuck key, but the group is all untrained in performance skill, which includes things like acting, comedy, dance, singing, and playing instruments. Although no one in the party was trained in performance arts, they speculated that something within the instrument might be holding the key down. Sheet music, Waltz for Clara. Quixote opens the top of the harpsichord, or piano, and finds a piece of parchment inside. It appears to be a handwritten sheet music with the title, Waltz for Clara. Alabaster figurines. Now, Noid doesn't discover any hidden compartments, but notices the alabaster figurines near the mantelpiece. Cracked female dancer. One of the figurines, a younger, slender female dancer, has cracks along its face, arms, and torso. Shattered older man. Another figurine, now shattered into dozens of pieces, appears to have once depicted a calmly older man. Female dancer. A third figurine, a female dancer, remains defiantly standing atop the mantelpiece, where it seems all three once stood together. Noid decided to take the unbroken female dancer figurine with him. As the group leaves this room, the clock chimes 8 times. Lauchen starts to panic and yells, "Damn it, you guys did it to us again. We're going to get us killed at midnight." Noid rushes over to the grandfather clock and cuts a wire he sees coming from the clock. Noid attempts to cut the cord on the clock, but as he pulls away, the cord remains completely uncut. The grandfather clock's cord had seemingly repaired itself after being cut, a sign of the supernatural four-step play within the house. Chapter 11, Library.
Description here. Red velvet drapes cover the windows of this room. An exquisite mahogany desk and a matching high-back chair face the entrance and the fireplace, above which hangs a framed picture of a windmill perched atop a rocky crag. Situated in corners of the room are 2 overstuffed chairs. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves line the south wall. A rolling wooden ladder allows one to more easily reach the high shelves.
In the library, the adventurers discovered red velvet drapes, a mahogany desk, and a floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. The group completes a thorough search of the room. Lauchen investigates the framed picture, and it looks like the windmill in the picture matches the coat of arms on the shield and the sword prior. Noid doesn't discover anything out of the ordinary at the fireplace. Quixote searches through the desk and finds a writing set, some candles, and a handwritten note. The only other items within the desk are some odds and ends, including receipts for candles, daggers, and incense. The handwritten note, however, reads the following. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Durst, in light of my current condition, I respectfully ask your leave for a brief time away from my responsibilities. While my devotion to your dear children makes this decision difficult, I have taken it upon myself to find a solution that, I hope, will serve your household well. A good acquaintance of mine is experienced in the care of children, and I believe that she could assume my role during my temporary leave without difficulty. I realize that my request is not without its complications. However, my years serving your family have shown me the depth of your understanding and compassion. I truly feel that I have become part of this family, and I look forward to bringing another member of that family into this world. Yours sincerely, Clara. Cancera notices a strange book titled Book of Music Lessons on the bookshelf, and it looks like it's attached to the shelf. She pulls the book and there's a clicking sound. The bookshelf slides aside, revealing a wall behind it. At chest height, there's a small panel made of dark wood with a hollow niche in its center. The niche has a jagged, irregular indentation and emanates a faint amber glow. Concerning the bookshelf sliding aside, it doesn't look like it's a full passage yet. The bookshelf moved aside to reveal the panel, but it seems like you need something to unlock it further. Maybe it's a double door mechanism or requires a key. Noid tries fitting the previously acquired alabaster stones into the indentation, but none of them fit. All 3 alabaster stones are rough cut and don't slot into the panel. These aren't the right gem. Chapter 12, The Balcony, 3rd floor.
You climb the red marble staircase to its full height, arriving at a dusty balcony. The air here is dry and musty, but tinged with a strange coppery scent. A suit of black plate armor stands against one wall, draped in cobwebs and marked by age. Oil lamps are mounted on the faded oak-paneled walls, which are carved with woodland scenes of trees, falling leaves, and tiny beasts. And as the last of you steps up here onto the staircase, the suit of armor at the back of the wall springs to life. Hey. As your lance strikes into it, the armor crumples to the ground. That ends the encounter. As it crumples to the ground, the head, the helmet, rolls off and rolls seemingly on its own accord to the staircase. Clanks loudly as it rolls, clink, clank, clank down the staircase.
The adventurers ascended to the 3rd floor. Here the group encountered a more decrepit atmosphere. Cobwebs covered the walls, and the air carried a coppery scent. As the last of the group steps into the staircase, the suit of armor at the back of the wall springs to life. Prepared for their first combat encounter, the group readied themselves for battle against the animated armor, each devising their strategy as the armor clutched its weapon, ready to attack. The party quickly realized that the construct's sturdy defense made it challenging to land effective hits. Lauchen, the half-elf ranger, initiated the attack, unleashing 2 arrows from his longbow. Both projectiles struck the armor but failed to deal significant damage, clattering harmlessly to the floor. Quixote followed up with his lance, thrusting it at the animated armor. Despite its determination, the weapon glanced off the plate's surface. Mazorn, the Orc Swashbuckler, was unable to penetrate the animated armor. With each strike, the frustration among the group grew as the construct's durability proved daunting. Multiple attacks landed ineffective, prompting the adventurers to reconsider their approach. In retaliation, the animated armor targeted Lauchen, delivering 2 powerful blows that significantly injured him. The final strike turned its attention to Quixote, who also suffered a damaging hit. Realizing the situation was critical, Noid, the Druid, cast a healing spell that emanated throughout the area, providing minor recovery to the wounded members of the party. Cancera, the Cleric, reinforced the group's efforts by casting a stronger healing spell on Lauchen, restoring much of his health. Additionally, Cancera provided guidance to Quixote, bolstering his chance for an effective attack in the next round. Lauchen retreated to a safer position, firing another series of arrows. This time, one of his shots managed to slightly damage the armor, signaling a potential turning point in the battle. With the group's determination renewed, Quixote landed a decisive blow with his lance, shattering the construct. The animated horror collapsed, its helmet detaching and rolling noisily down the staircase. As the remnants of the animated horror armor settled, the adventurers gathered their breath. The encounter marked the first significant challenge, leaving the group both wary and eager to continue uncovering the mysteries within its walls. So that's the end of session 1. Let's go over some notes, some kind of connecting the dots on certain things. So, characters. We've got Gustav Durst, right? Husband in the family portrait in the main hall. Is likely patriarch of the house involved in the Durst Mill celebration letter that was found in the main hall coat closet for that 1-year anniversary. And he also seemed to be signed that scroll of parchment with a -G found in the dining room. There is a note other G characters we're aware of. Now, Elizabeth Durst, we presume, is the wife in the family portrait in the main hall, likely the matriarch of the house, involved also in that Durst Mill celebration letter found in the main hall coat closet at 1-year anniversary of the Durst Mill. Rosavalda Durst, it's one of the 2 children mentioned in the family portrait in the main hall. Thornbolt Durst, or maybe just Thorn, is also the other child mentioned in the family portrait, but also a toy that was forgotten under a chair in the den has etched in the bottom of it his name, or his nickname, Thorn. There's also an unnamed infant. There's a baby held in the family portrait in the main hall. Kind of odd, right? Well, why have a family portrait and not name all the children? Clara, a servant asked in a letter found in the library for leave from the Durst family due to her, quote, current condition, suggesting yet that she was pregnant. Also, a piece of sheet music in the conservatory is titled The Waltz for Clara. And also there's a piece of lace that bears the initial K sewn in the corner. It was also found in the kitchen pantry. There's also the beast, right? So this entity was mentioned in the blood red message in the main hall that sleeps until the midnight chime and, quote, feeds on a bloody feast. Now, maybe unrelated, but the balcony, 3rd floor, has faded oak paneled walls, which are carved with woodland scenes of trees, falling leaves, and tiny beasts. I'm not sure if related to the actual beast. All right, what else? So here's notes on on the setting. So we're in the Daggerford stormy streets, right? So starting point for the party, we're in the settlement in Daggerford on the Sword Coast of Faerun in the Forgotten Realms. It is the Highharvesttide festival, right? Creates a stark contrast to the dark, mysterious death house that we are in right now. By us traveling to the death house, it was a misty, rain-slick cobblestone streets that led eventually to the house. Now, the death house exterior, it's a 4-story Gothic manor with cold, soot-stained stone, narrow windows, high-peaked roofs, and a foreboding portico with a wrought iron gate. There were some dim oil lamps, and a whispering wind invoke an eerie atmosphere. The interior, we traversed the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floor. 1st floor was the front entrance, the entry hallway, main hall and coat closet, the den, dining room, and the kitchen pantry. The 2nd floor had that upper hall, the servants' room with the closet, conservatory, and the library with the bookshelf. And the 3rd floor was the balcony, where we fought that animated armor. All right, so what are some reoccurring motifs that we see? So the windmill crest, right, shows up a lot. It was on the shield in the entry hallway, features a windmill coat of arms. On the invitation that was found in the main hall coat closet features an image of the windmill crest at the top. The invitation letter also mentions the 1-year anniversary of the Durst Mill. Could that be a windmill, lumber mill, some other type of mill? The longsword in the upper hall includes a windmill cameo. And then there's the framed picture in the library depicts a windmill perched atop a rocky crag. Alabaster. So there were some alabaster stones, about 3 of them that were in the den, found in the north cabinet. And also, there were alabaster figurines in the conservatory. This set of alabaster figurines including a cracked dancer, a shattered older man, and the one that remains intact that the party took. Also, this amber color in the den, it mentioned a amber eye that flashes in the darkness and a bestial muzzle curl into a snarl. But also in the library, there was a niche inside that bookshelf that has a jagged, irregular indentation and emanates a faint amber glow. Could it be related? Maybe not. I took a look at all the different light sources because there were quite a few light sources that were mentioned in this kind of dark atmosphere. So during the initial travel, we were guided by a faint glow of our lanterns as we traversed the slick, fog-shrouded cobblestone streets. At the entrance of the house, on either side of the gate, oil lamps hang from chains. Their light dim and flickering, cast in a sickly glow that barely pierces the surrounding fog. Nothing was mentioned in the entry hallway. On the main hall or coat closet area, there was the fireplace and also oil lamps mounted on the walls. In the den, there was also a fireplace, and also a chandelier hangs above. In the dining room was a marble fireplace, a crystal chandelier, and natural light through the red silk draped windows. Kitchen pantry, there wasn't any mention of light. The upper hall and the second floor, there was unlit oil lamps mounted on the walls. The servants' room closet, there wasn't any mention of light. The conservatory, there was a fireplace, brass plated chandelier, and gossamer drapes over the windows. Library and bookshelf area, there was a fireplace and red velvet draped windows. And on the balcony, third floor, there was oil lamps mounted on the walls. So let's take a look at the paintings, carvings, and mountings. So entry hallway was the shield mounted on the foyer wall, the windmill shield. Main hall coat closet. Above the fireplace hangs a portrait of a family. And then there was blood letters within the clock talked about the beast who hungers for a bloody feast. In the den, there was a stag head, which is a deer, and also a taxidermy gray and brown wolves. In the dining room, above the marble fireplace was a mahogany framed painting of an alpine vale, which I had to look up what that was. It was a mountain valley. The wall paneling is carved with elegant images of deer among the trees. Kitchen pantry, there wasn't much discussed there. Upper hall on the second floor, the longsword mounted on the wall. The doors between the armor are carved with images of dancing youths. Suits of armor have the visors shaped like wolf heads, so that was interesting. The servants' room or closet was an undecorated bedroom. It specifically says undecorated. The conservatory, several stained glass wall hangings depict beautiful men, women, and children singing and playing instruments. In the library bookshelf area, above the fireplace hanged a framed picture of a windmill perched atop a rocky crag. In the balcony third floor was faded oak paneled walls, which are carved with woodland scenes of trees, falling leaves, and tiny beasts. And in red, I kind of highlighted all the different animals. There's also the mention of, in the prologue, of a howling wolf at the end. So we mentioned there's wolves, a deer a couple times, and beast and tiny beasts. So with all that said, there was, this is my last slide, and these are kind of the outstanding questions that put it all together that I could gather. And if you have more questions, feel free to add them to the comments. I'd be curious of what we should check for in session 2. So based on that, per room, exterior front of the house, why didn't we look at the house number on the outside of the house? I know there was an invitation that had a date on there. It just says the Durst residence, but it'll be interesting to maybe later if there's a address to compare, or if there's a map or something, it'd be nice to know what the house number is on the outside. So I don't know why we didn't look at the house number on the outside of the house when we were here. It does appear that our windows allow us to see outside, so maybe we can see the house number from one of the windows. And also, just curiously, can we just leave? Probably not, but have we attempted to leave? No. But what happens if we attempt to leave by opening, any outside facing doors or windows, or maybe exit through an outside balcony? What would happen? The entry hallway, when we passed the entry hallway into the main hall, the locks kind of locked behind us. So just curious, can we pick these locks? Have we attempted it? What happens if we attempt to pick the locks and roll a natural 20, right? Just curiously. Main hall coat closet. So is that family portrait purely decorative, or does it hide a compartment, right? Is there a hidden, sometimes when you, in the typical trope, right, where you look behind a painting, is there like a hidden lever or hidden, something behind the painting, like a hole or something in the wall? Also, I'm not sure if anyone noticed it, but there inside the invitation letter, there's actually a ghostly figure in the bottom of the invitation letter, which I thought was interesting. Maybe not important, but it's like, well, why is there a little ghost figure in the bottom there? Was the letter by itself, or was it addressed to anyone? Yeah, so there's a letter, you're inviting, someone, hey, come on, but was it, is it inside an envelope? Was there an envelope nearby? Is it just, two, is it on the back? It's just a random invite with no one to it. And is there anything else in that coat room? I don't think we actually checked that coat room too detailedly. The den. So I mentioned the amber eye of a stuffed wolf. Could that relate to the amber glow in the bookshelf niche? And we only examined one of the pair of the forgotten toys. The other toy wasn't examined. And actually, what are these pair of toys? Are they a doll? Or is it a little toy truck or something, And I put here, is it related to the doll that Thorn is carrying in the portrait? And then why is there a red T in the southwest corner of the den? treasure, trapdoor. What's that T mean? And I know that we had checked it earlier and there was no trapdoors, around the wolf den. So maybe not. Dining room. Did we look at the tapestry that hangs from an iron rod bolted to the south wall? We didn't. And it was in the description. So what is that tapestry of, right? Is it a windmill? Is it some colors? Is the painting of that alpine veil purely decorative? Or again, is it something hiding behind it? And should we really grab any of this silverware? As silver can protect, or injure kind of supernaturally, but I'm not sure if the character is actually aware of that. Kitchen pantry. Can that dumb raider go to a floor below the first floor, right? We went up and there was mention of a beneath this dwelling lurks a beast. So can we go down? Is there a basement? The kitchen has a bent iron stovepipe connecting to a hole in the ceiling. So as a rat, I'm wondering, can Noid discover this more deeply? Why is the iron stovepipe bent? Because it was specifically called out in the description. Upper hall, second floor. Could the suits of armor wolf-themed visors have a connection to the wolves in the den? Could there be a recurring wolf theme concerning the beast? Because it's either the wolves or the deer's only animals we've appeared so far. And the suits of armor holding spears. Should we take them? I'm not sure. What happens if the dumbwaiter goes up to the third or fourth floor? Yeah, so from the servants' room, the dumbwaiter's on that second floor for the servants' room, but it can go up even higher. Third floor, and then they mentioned there's 4 floors. I don't know if it goes all the way up to the attic or what. The conservatory. Can we try fixing that depressed key by playing other keys? Right, naturally, right? If we have a depressed key, what do you normally do? You try to press the keys or press the keys around trying to get the key to come back up for stuck piano keys. And although we're untrained, can we attempt to play that sheet music, that waltz for Clara, on the harpsichord or on that harp? And then, are the alabaster figurines, are they symbolic of a specific characters or events in the house? It seems to me that maybe that scratched one or the one that broken, that could be either the wife or maybe potentially Clara. And then you've got the male figure, that could be Gustav, and then you got the other female character. So 2 females and a male in those figurines. Next was the library bookshelf. Is again the painting of that windmill decorative, or does it hide something behind it? Are there any books with annotations or hidden messages? We don't want to check the books that well. What type of books are on the bookshelves, right? So if this is Gustav's library, what's he into? What's he reading? What type of books does he collect? Does he have Dungeons and Dragons books and chess books like I do? Gustav, why do you have Nintendo Power magazines here? No, I'm just kidding. But it'd probably be something related if what he studies or maybe what his hobbies were. And lastly, balcony, the third floor. Examine that defeated animated armor, including the helmet that kind of fell down these stairs. So there's a helmet that's on the second floor now, I guess, that rolled down the stairs. Anything in there? And then lastly, the faded oak paneled walls, which are carved with woodland scenes of trees, falling leaves, and tiny beasts. What are these tiny beasts? Could they be related to this beneath this dwelling lurks a beast? So that's all I have. Thank you so much. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any comments, feel free to add some comments. I'll read them. Thank you very much.